part 2 of traction control on an Africa Twin, the current one. Right, as my first video, if you do not scroll down here and remove wheelie control to 0, you will not turn off traction control, even if that's on 0, as per my last video. Now traction control is off. If you turn this off and this is on 1, your traction control is still on. Anyway, what I have found is, if we go back, like all riders I'm presuming, nope, start the bike, this is in 1 and wheelie control's in 1. You have to turn this off to 0, the wheelie control, to have any authority on the traction control. So now you've set up your traction control on your favorites button, and you can scroll through that on the fly. As you can see, it won't go to 0, but if you have that on 1 and think you're changing the traction control, think again. What happens is you can put it on 1 thinking you've got the least intrusive, and you'll go to do something and it'll bog down and it'll annoy the hell out of you because the wheelie control is taking over. Wheelie control on 1, and then this traction control actually does make some sense. You do have some authority. The same idiot that decided that it was a good idea that every time you turn this bike off and then on, the same mental pygmy. I don't know what world we live in when this happens on a motorcycle. If we wait and we wait, mind you, I just ride. You can ride, you don't have to wait. So I've got to see my manual. Every single time I do this, I've got to do that. And the nanny has put it in 1 and 1. Just ridiculous. So when you get riding, hit the enter button, scroll down, remove that to 0, hit the return button, and now your traction control is on your favorites button, and as you're riding it, it makes sense. It's actually quite good. And with the wheelie control turned off, I would say most riding, 3, 2, even 4 is fine. If the traction controls, if the wheelie control's on, it won't matter what you've got it on. It's just useless. So if you're obviously getting some hill climbs or something really rutty going uphill, you're going to have to stop the bike, press enter, then use this and go back to 0 and ride it like that. Really good hard off-roading stuff. That is the only numbers it can be in. The bike is useless without 0 and 0. All the other fast stuff, gravel and stuff, is fine. The other thing that I don't know why, but it's marketing. So if we press that back, all these modes, I can't tell any difference. Absolute marketing crap. I've set up user 1 for least engine braking, least power, and user 2, most power, most engine braking. I can hardly tell the difference. Can't tell any difference in the power. Engine braking, marginal, but this is what I run it in. I'd run it in least power and least engine braking for off-road, and then use my traction control on my favorites button. But of course that won't work at the moment because we're into this screen. Once again, we've got to go hit the enter button, go down, get that into a number, and then we hit the return button, and then now my favorites button works as I can run it. Going for a ride today, that's what I'll be running in. And I'll start off with probably 3 or 4, and if I get into some pretty muddy stuff or whatever, I'll get it down to 1. If that's not good, I'll stop the bike. You soon learn to live with it. When you stop, all I do is turn it off by this. Once that's turned off, I just leave the headlight on. Even if it's 15-20 minutes, it's fine. It just saves you going through all the crap again. Anyway, that's how to do your authority on your traction control, or Honda torque control, I think they call it. Nothing happens properly until you get rid of the wheelie control. Later.